All right, hey, Shane O'Mac here from Just Win Bets Baby. Joe the fan, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Should all professional teams be relegated, like in the EPL?
Well, first off, we have to understand what relegation means, and for those who don't know, so in soccer, especially in Europe, they have what's called teams that are the last three in the, I guess in the conference they call it table. Now here in the U.S. they call it standings. MLB standings, NBA standings, NFL standings, right? So they have one for excuse me, EPL, where they have X amount of teams, and the last three teams who don't qualify, okay, in the top 17, they are relegated. They go down to a lower league. So to answer your question, yes, I think this would be pretty interesting. Now you take the football. Now I don't know how this would work though, because money's involved, and when money's involved, the everything changes. Okay, that's like saying, hey, as a student, okay, if you're in a class like a chemistry class or a math class, it's not going to matter. But as soon as the professor or the teacher says, hey, this is for a test grade or 20% of your grade or 50% of your grade, that's when people like lock in. Oh my lord, I'm gonna lock in, right? So
Yeah.
should there be? I think there should be. But how does the money come into play? Now, in the NBA, there's a G League. So if you don't, so we talked about the NBA lottery being rigged. I think the lower team, and this gives an opportunity for the other leagues that are maybe in the G League to move up into the NBA.
And the reason why they brought the lottery around, right, was because they wanted to stop tanking.
Right.
That would stop tanking right away, right?
Absolutely.
Because if you're not getting the major league money, you're not gonna want to lose, right? So that would stop tanking instantly, right?
Absolutely. And you bring up the NBA where it's like the NBA Cup, they play that within the season and money's involved. So people are going to start playing, oh, hey, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. So I think there should be. There is in the EPL recently, there are three teams who are now headed back to their what's called the EFL Championship in England. So I'll use that as an example. There are teams like maybe those people watched on FX, Wrexham. Wrexham
Yeah.
is owned by Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other guy that's from Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't know his name off the top of my head. I've been watching their documentary on this, and it's currently on FX and also on Hulu. There's that plug right there, right? But they do a great job, and now that team that was in League Two, I mean, this was a very bad league, and you could see. I went to England, Shano, this past summer, and the environment is totally different. I'm not trying to make fun or anything like that. They're very proud over there. That's all they have, pretty much. They have darts, they have rugby, and definitely soccer, or they call it football over there, but it's soccer, and they take that stuff very seriously. Okay, like we do with the NFL. So,
Yeah.
so they moved up. Wrexham moved up from League Two to League One, which was the next promotion, and then they got promoted now into Wrexham, and they did that within 3 years of ownership, and that's pretty impressive. 3 to 4
That's
years, something
impressive.
like that. Yeah. So next stop for Wrexham would be EPL, and EPL, that's where the money comes into play. A lot of money.
Oh yeah, because that's your big dogs.
Oh, those are the big dogs.
Yeah.
Big money. Big money.
I think when it comes to American sports, I think certain sports would be easier than others. So like you look at MLB, they already have AAA, AA, single A, right? And then the major league teams. The only problem is that the teams usually own those teams as well.
Right.
So it'd be kind of a little weird. And then, like you said, NBA has the G League. NHL has the American Hockey League, like the Washington Capitals own the Hershey Bears as their farm team. So it could work in the NHL. I don't know what you would do for football though, because there's not another really league except for the UFL.
Right.
Which you could do, or you can like maybe make a deal with like the CFL. But the difference with that is that the rules are different.
Correct. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, a best of three if you're doing basketball. So if it's the Wizards versus a team, from the G League, and if you win that series, hey, you're in. But can you imagine the money and stuff like that? And going back to soccer real quick, So the stadiums, the arenas that are in England, they're not. If you're in a League Two, and again, I'm not making fun at all. Okay, at anything. There's a club that was in the Premier League called Luton Town, where you literally have to go through someone's house to get to the to get right through the stadium. Okay, but they don't have the great seats, they don't have the great stuff, and to make it, because it's the EPL, it's like the NFL of soccer. They have to give you X amount of money to make it look nice, because it's going to be on TV, it's going to be on nationally televised television, etc. Especially here in the U.S., especially in the UK. So it's a big deal, and they have multiple tournaments, just like the NBA Cup. They have multiple tournaments throughout. They have what's called an FA Cup, and there's cups, there's stuff that's outside of, but only in Europe, which is known as the Champions League. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or not, or Europa League, or now the Europa Conference League. So they're getting all that money that goes towards the club, and let me tell you, I mean, I went to six clubs. I went to a championship club, which was known as Queen's Park. Very nice folks there. Everywhere in England was nice. I went to Arsenal. I went to Chelsea. Shout out to Chelsea. And the list goes on and on. And let me tell you something. They're super nice. They're very proud of their teams. My hat's off to them. But relegation, I think it needs to. You gotta hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely, like I said, you'll definitely see some teams changing. You won't see like the Wizards this year trying to tank and get the most lottery ping pong balls to try and get the first pick, which we know is just a sham, anyways. But when you're pointing out the stadiums, I think that would be a big difference, because just to say hockey, for example, I went to a Hershey Bears game before, and their stadium only sits about 9,500 people, where the Caps play at Capital One Arena that holds 20,000 people, right? Yeah. So that's a big difference.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's money to not only to that organization, but everybody that's around there, and all they're playing for in the EPL is this patch right there.
Yeah,
that's what they're playing for. I mean, there's a lot of money. It's just a lot of money in those leagues. I mean, not taking anything away from the NFL. I mean, there's definitely a lot of money in the NFL, in the NBA. You're talking about the television coverage, the commercials, the promos, etc. So, yeah, there should be some relegation, because if you get the owners can say, I own an NFL team. Okay, that's fantastic. But, the fans will get on them. I mean, it'd just be interesting to see, hey, we're on the verge of so people won't sit on week 18.
Right.
Every game would count.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Yeah, try it. I don't know how it would work. I don't know. But, there's got to be some type of money or incentives that's part of it.
100%. That would be awesome to see. I've always said that. I think it'd be a cool idea. It would just be like we said, I think it's easier already set up for certain sports than others. Like I told you, MLB, I think it'd be super easy to do.
Yeah.
Because you already have the 4 different levels.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I would love to see it. That'd be great.
Yeah. Hopefully,
all right.
They'll listen to
me. All right. Well, that's all we got for you today from Just Win Bets, baby. We'll catch you next time.